what I find like really special is Saudi is very rich in culture, and also Mexico
Yeah.
is very rich in culture.
Yeah,
So
of course.
I think having those two parts,
Mm-hmm.
I get to appreciate that.
Okay.
And I get to learn more about culture, heritage, history, and everything.
Hello and welcome to the Mayman Show. We are coming to you from our studios in Riyadh, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Our guest today is one of the most recognizable TV presenters who started at a very young age. We have Reem Al Bliwi. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right,
Hi.
and as I just said while I introduced you, Reem, you started out at a very young age. You started out at on your early 20s.
Yeah.
And you've quickly become one of the most recognizable TV presenters in the kingdom and in the region. So how did you get your start, and what gave you the courage to, basically say, hey, I can be in front of a camera?
Well, I think I was lucky
Yeah.
enough to get the opportunity to be doing something I wanted to do, but did not expect to be doing at such early age, like you said.
Okay.
So I took the opportunity. And at first, I'm not gonna lie, I was afraid because it felt like I had zero experience at the
Okay.
time.
Mhm.
I was still doing my bachelor's degree in public relations. I had just been accepted, actually. So it felt like I'm either gonna succeed or I'm gonna ruin it for myself, like
Okay.
maybe forever. Who knows?
Right.
So I took the opportunity. I said, okay, well, why not? I'll do the casting. I got accepted. Uh, I was rehearsing for like maybe a couple months,
Okay.
or yeah, for a couple months probably,
All right.
doing like trainings and everything. So that's how I started basically.
All right. And did you take any of the training home? Well, like what would be I don't know, I guess one of the tactics you learned that you just kept on doing over and over again?
I learned like when I first did the casting,
Yeah.
they sent me the script and everything, and they told me this is the script. This is it was about fashion or beauty, something like that.
Okay.
I thought I had to memorize the script.
All right.
So I went for the casting. I had memorized the script word by word,
Okay.
and I started doing that.
All right.
And then I realized, no, it's not the right way to do it because I was not being myself.
Okay. Did anyone who was providing you the training tell you that be yourself? Don't do
Yeah,
that,
they,
or-
they had to cut like a few times. And then
Okay.
they told me, you know what? We'll have the script. They took the they took the script from me,
Mhm.
and they asked me to like, خلاص, this is the subject.
Okay.
This is what you're talking about.
Say it
I
in
had
your own
like a
words.
background in fashion and beauty and everything. Just
Okay.
be yourself.
Okay.
So
So
yeah.
what attracted you to being a TV show presenter? In this day and age.
It's something I've always wanted to do, honestly.
Yeah.
Like even when I remember, even back when I was a kid, I've always said I wanted to do TV. I wanted to be a TV host, and I wanted to do news
Okay.
specifically.
Why news?
I don't know. I always like.
I mean, I ended up in news, but
Yeah.
if I was given an opportunity, I would have probably done other things. So
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Just because I'm a person who likes
Mm.
entertainment and all that stuff.
Okay.
But I think when I was starting up, the best and safest, I mean, not the safest bet, but like the best, the easy, the most lucrative path, let's just
Okay.
say, would be being a news anchor, which I was for a very long time.
That's nice. I've always thought like doing news,
Okay.
being a news anchor is really nice, and maybe one of the reasons is because of like when I watch those news anchors and everything, and
Yeah.
how serious they are. They're taken very seriously,
Okay.
and maybe that's something I've always admired as a
Alright.
kid.
Okay.
So that's the reason. But like the show I do is different.
Mhm.
It's more like entertainment,
Okay.
lifestyle.
All
So
right.
I kind of found myself in that.
So who are you? Who did you find yourself, following a lot when you're growing up watching news anchors? Which ones stood out?
Honestly, there's no one like
Yeah.
really.
Okay.
specific.
Like no Tom Brokaws or Larry Kings
No
or
one specific.
yeah.
Like I like to watch a bit of everything and everyone.
All right.
So no, I wouldn't say anyone specifically.
All right. If you have any time, you need to look up a guy called Walter Cronkite. So I think you'll find his approach very. I don't know. I think to me, he's like the epitome of professional news presenting.
Mm.
Like there is nobody.
Oh, news.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you got to check him out.
Will do.
All right, and so okay, and then so you always wanted to be a news presenter, and you got your big break on a show for the for SBC, which is part of the Saudi Broadcasting Authority called Studio SBC. So when you when you started the show, how did you get yourself to basically get comfortable? Because obviously, when you were talking to me about your starting out as a presenter, you seemed, that you were kind of a bit nervous on your race. So how did you feel comfortable? And I'm going to use the cliche term, say to yourself, "I belong here."
When I first started, I started doing the morning show.
Yeah.
Actually, it was
Okay.
Sabahkum SBC.
Oh, okay.
So at the time, we were a few presenters. And then we had like different segments.
Yeah.
There was the entrepreneur, the chef. I was offered to do the fashion segment, the fashion and beauty segment.
Okay.
So that was the plan.
Oh, nice.
So for me, it was okay because, as I said, I didn't have much experience at the time. I had just started building my career. I had just been accepted in public relations. So it was fun. It wasn't that... It was a good start,
Okay.
So we were training, we were rehearsing for a couple months. Before the show started, like 2 weeks before the show started, I remember the editor-in-chief came to me and he told me, "You are chosen to be one of the main presenters."
Okay. And how did you feel when that happened?
I was nervous, but maybe that's the moment where I felt, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is where I belong. And honestly, everyone was like very supportive because, I was the youngest one on the show. Everyone knew I had zero experience. So I expected people to treat me differently.
Okay.
But they were very supportive, honestly.
Everybody was supporting and helping.
It felt right.
All right. So is that something that you feel that at a later stage in your career, you're going to pay it forward for the next generation?
I hope so.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. So, okay. So you started out in the morning show. I know doing morning shows is different than doing other shows. I've had my hand in doing morning shows as well. So I don't like waking up early. That's just one thing. So, but okay. So you transitioned then from the morning show to Studio SBC.
To Studio SBC.
Right. And how did you find that transition and shift?
It was easier.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to wake up in the morning either.
Okay.
But it helped with, because at the time I was still studying.
Okay.
I was still doing my bachelor's. And for a semester, I think, or probably a year, I had to drop out of uni.
All right.
Because of the morning show. And because I wanted to concentrate until I was able to do both things at the same time. So when... I moved to Studio SBC. It starts at 5. So it was easier for me. It was more convenient. I had to finish university. I had to finish my classes, then go back home, then go again to the studio.
I completely understand that schedule and having to pick which one.
It was hectic, honestly.
All right. So basically, during that transition, you moved to, you started out in a morning show. And then you transition to, your own show on Studio SBC One, starting in the morning, which obviously is not my cup of tea or not everybody's cup of tea, but it has a rigorous schedule, and you were trying to balance that from being a student, and then you found that balance. So now that you found that balance, basically, what did during that time, how would you describe your movement, you're the basically succeeding in such a short period of time?
I would say it was very easy for me, to move from the morning show to a different show. And it wasn't actually very different because it was still It was more entertainment.
Okay.
Actually, even the presenters with me, it was more friendly,
Okay.
more casual,
Yeah, but not in the morning.
but not in the morning.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it gave you time to, go to
Yeah.
college.
It helped me learn how to be myself more in front of the camera.
All right. And so I take it you felt more comfortable doing fashion, beauty because you had a hand in modeling and
Mm.
everything. So basically, how would you basically, in 2 words, find the challenge different with about hosting a segment about fashion and beauty and being a model?
I did not do that.
Yeah.
The fashion segments, after I was chosen to be the main presenter, I
Yeah.
did maybe like 2 fashion segments,
Okay.
and then I stopped doing that.
All right.
I found it's what I like. Like, I love beauty, I love fashion and everything, but I don't want it to be, I don't want to build a career
Okay.
based on it.
Based on it. Okay.
Based on fashion and beauty and everything. Like, it's my personality outside
Okay.
of the TV, but not on TV. So I chose not to do the fashion and beauty segments, actually.
Okay. Do you want to
But
do something a bit more challenging?
exactly.
All right.
Working in modeling, I was actually very young. I started doing it very casually. Then I found myself actually committed to it.
Mhm.
But maybe at the time, it was like more than 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The industry was different. The fashion and beauty industry and the environment in
Okay.
general was really different. Like, I'm proud of what we've accomplished in those past 5 years. I mean,
such a
we
short
see
period of
now
time,
Fashion
right?
Commission, everything they're doing,
Yeah.
even for like the modeling, career and all
Yeah.
the programs they've been doing. I'm really
Working with
proud of
hundreds
that,
of
actually.
designers, and
Exactly.
there's actually an ecosystem.
There's more opportunity. At the time, there wasn't really much
Yeah.
of an opportunity for doing modeling, especially maybe beauty
Okay.
modeling.
And if someone had to tailor a show specifically for you, what would be your dream show of hosting? Like me, I always wanted to be one of the Top Gear hosts. I thought that was one of the funnest
Nice.
show on earth.
That's nice.
Yeah. So what would yours be?
I always thought it would be fashion and beauty until I
Yeah.
told you I chose not to do that because I
Okay.
felt like it's not my on TV personality.
All right.
My on TV personality is maybe more serious.
Okay. So,
So-
all right, but okay, since you're like, okay, I don't want to do fashion and beauty, then if someone would say, give me your dream TV show to host, what would it be? Aside from fashion and beauty, because
I'm not gonna share my ideas. Then someone might steal them.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe someone listening will tailor a show for you and ask you to come and host it.
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
But
at least what genre? Let's just say
Mm.
what kind of industry or what kind of topics would you want to talk about?
I'm trying to think of a show that I like
Yeah.
watching, actually. Like watching your podcast, of
All right.
course. Because I like watching and listening to different people,
Mhm.
different characters. You get to learn,
Yeah.
like, people's experiences,
You
and
actually
it's
learn something
nice.
from watching this show.
Yeah, I do. Don't you?
Me? I mean, to
Don't
me, it's
you?
just
Like,
they.
from your guests.
Well, I learn from my guests, but
It's
to them, I
so-
feel bad for them because it's like 30 minutes of me just bantering and trying to say answer.
But
say
they're
something.
sharing their experience, which is
Alright.
nice. Like,
Okay.
getting to hear
Yeah.
different
Yeah, I
experiences. I think it's interesting.
that's
to
the
me.
one thing I enjoy is actually
Mm.
is getting different, having an array of guests on the show and
Yeah.
everyone giving their input and everything. And the general consensus a lot of them have is, especially with, like you said, we didn't have a fashion industry. Now we have a thriving one,
Yeah.
or and one that's going to even get bigger as years go by. Is that the mentality is if you build it, they will come. Even if we didn't have an industry or we didn't have the numbers or the ecosystem or whatever to support it, people just went out and pushed on and did what they wanted to do,
True.
whether it was making a movie or whether it was launching, a space program or being a singer or an athlete or whatever,
Mm.
So getting back to basically your career and how you started and everything. So you come from a mixed background. So you're Saudi and Mexican. How did basically that shape up how you communicate with the world? How did it shape how you see and view things?
That's a nice question, actually.
Okay, thank you.
Because usually people, when they know like my mother is Mexican, everything, maybe they ask
Yeah.
different questions, you know.
Okay.
But it's really interesting because you get to be more open,
Yeah.
more interested.
Mhm.
You get to, and the good thing is, and what I find like really special is Saudi is very rich in culture, and also Mexico
Yeah.
is very rich in culture.
Yeah,
So
of course.
I think having those two parts,
Hmm.
I get to appreciate that.
Okay.
And I get to learn more about culture, heritage, history, and everything. And you get to appreciate different cultures, different people, different ways of thinking. You're more open. And I think you need that also as a TV host. I mean,
Yeah.
I get to see so many people. I interview so many people every day, different characters, different personalities. It's easier to communicate
Okay.
with people and to actually understand them, or trying to understand them at least.
All right. And your mom basically had a passion for the
Yeah, she
Arabian
does.
culture. What made her like
She does.
what made, in your opinion, what made her like the Arabic culture, especially coming from, as you said, a rich culture of her own?
Mm. Um, I should ask her that
Yeah.
question.
In
She
your
always
opinion,
says,
what is it?
I think deep down, she always says, I think deep down I'm Saudi.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, as I told you, like Mexico is also very rich in culture, and I think that's probably part of the reason she appreciates
Yeah.
the Saudi culture and heritage and everything. So like from the start, and when she first started like getting to know the culture,
Yeah.
she loved it, and
Okay.
she felt like it's different, but it's similar at the
Right.
same time.
Yeah.
I mean, there are like similar things, you know.
Okay. Tell me one.
Like
from
for
your opinion,
example,
basically.
maybe Mexico is not very affected with the Western
Yeah.
world, you know.
Yes.
Like they have their own identity, their own culture,
Yeah.
their own heritage. They're very family oriented.
Yes, I've been to a quinceañera before, so
Yeah.
I think it's very fun. And all right, so let's talk about basically how. Okay, so you're in the public eye basically right now, and you've you're a young person. What how do you basically maintain your personal growth and being in the public eye at the same time? If you had to give someone some advice, what works for you?
Mm. I like to have my privacy, honestly.
Yeah.
And people always ask me why I'm never that active
Okay.
on social media,
Okay.
for example, given I'm a TV presenter, but I still like to keep my privacy.
Okay.
So I don't know. I feel like being in the public eye,
All right.
as you said, is
You have to be open for all sorts of things, compliments, criticism, and
I'm
everything
open
in
to that.
between.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine by me. Actually, I don't mind it. I understand that people are gonna judge you and people are gonna criticize you. It's
Yeah.
okay. But I think from being on TV, I've learned how to block
Yeah.
people's energies and just block people, like
And be you.
mentally.
Yeah.
Mentally block
All right.
people, you know? But being judged and criticized, for me, it's normal. We're humans at the end of the day.
Okay.
But I prefer not to be.
But the percentage is a lot more increased when you're in the public eye. Let's just
True.
put that.
It's also
Or
true.
let's
But
just say
it's
the
your
volume
choice.
of
It's your
criticism and
choice at the end
compliments
of
is
the
even
day.
more. Yeah.
How much you share to the world with the
Okay.
world, I mean, it's your choice at the end of the day. I choose to still have my private life.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Fair enough. It's just that a lot of people within your age, like I said, are basically online a bit more and are like social media influencers and everything. So I thought it would be a good way to see the differences.
I respect that,
Yeah.
honestly. It's nice. And people always underestimate that job.
Okay.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Being a social media influencer is a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I've tried, honestly. I've tried like being active and being an influencer and everything. It's not easy.
Okay.
Honestly, it's really not easy. So
what attracted you more to the traditional media way of doing things? Hey, I'm a prodigy of the traditional media, so I'm not knocking it. But what made I'm just interested to see what made you feel like, hey, I should be doing this rather than being a social media influencer.
when you're on social media, it's like you have your own personal message.
Okay.
Being on TV is different.
Yeah.
You have a message and you're trying to deliver the message in a very mindful way.
Okay.
So maybe to me, or I don't know, I feel it fits my personality more.
All right.
Like being on TV, being more serious. I'm not one to like share a lot or talk on social media or speak every day or share my daily lifestyle.
Okay.
So I find TV for me more interesting.
All right. And then back to the tricks and trade of traditional media. So on-air confidence is something that every television show presenter has to have. And there's different ways to harness that confidence. I have my own things that everybody has. Well, what's your secret to making yourself all pepped up and confident before you start recording?
Breathing exercises.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I have to do my breathing exercises every day, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes before going live.
All right.
Yeah, they really help, honestly. It's one of the things, like, when I first started and I remember we were training and rehearsing everything, it's one of the things we used to do, like, every day.
Yeah.
Before we go live, we would, like, all gather in one group, do our breathing exercise. It really helps, honestly. Okay. Not only for TV.
I don't know. Me, I'm in front of a mirror, usually, and just psyching myself up.
That's also important, too,
That's what I do, always.
Yeah. And appearance is also important on camera.
All right. And then, I don't know, what I find different about doing this is there's a lot less preparation in terms of, I just kind of know who I'm interviewing and what we're talking about rather than reading a whole news autocue script, which was fun to do for, I don't know, a very long time. I remember I used to do the evening news bulletin. So every Tuesday would be the same thing because it would be when the Council of Ministers meet, so you have to read that news item first.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked a lot about being on air and off air and getting prepared and everything. So what do you do when you're not working? What's your hobbies? What do you do for fun?
Honestly, back when I was in Jeddah, I think I would go to the beach whenever I'm free. That was my yeah.
All right. Now that you moved to Riyadh,
when I moved to Riyadh, it's been different, actually. I tried to do like different sports.
Okay. Which one do you find yourself?
I wanted to like have, something different to do.
Okay.
I tried a few things. I don't know. I'm still finding myself in the sports.
All right.
In the sports thing, let's say. But actually, I've learned enjoying my solitude.
Okay.
Honestly.
And what do you do when you're in
like when I'm not busy and having a full schedule? I like to enjoy my alone time, read a book, watch a TV show, listen to a podcast.
Yeah. Listen to the Mayman show.
Listen to the Mayman show.
All right.
Of course.
Cool. All right. And before I ask you the last question, where because you've listen to the Mayman show and you obviously follow Arab news. So what do you think of the initiative that is happening here in Arab news to be a bit more digital?
I like that. I mean, everything is digital now. You know? Like people prefer to listen to podcasts or watch podcasts. Life is I sometimes listen to a podcast when I'm at work. Like I always
Okay.
have my headphones on and I'm listening to a podcast or listening to a TV show, without watching.
Okay.
So I feel like, yeah, everything is heading towards digital media, I'll say.
All right. Fair enough. And before we wrap up the interview, I always ask my guests if they have a personal message to the audience. What's yours?
Mm. My personal message, I think, would be to not put too much pressure
Yeah.
on yourself, because I feel like we always do that.
Mm-hmm.
We always try to, maybe it's what I learned personally, but I think a lot of people do that. We put so much pressure on ourselves. We become sometimes very harsh
Okay.
on ourselves, which gets us nowhere. So I think my personal message would be to be kind to yourself
Okay.
and to celebrate every achievement, because I don't think we do that enough.
Yeah. Take a moment
Like
to take it in.
celebrate every achievement, no matter how small it is.
Okay. Fair enough. I never really celebrate any of my achievements because I always
You
think of
should.
what's next.
You
I
should.
always-
I think I used to think like that too.
Yeah. I still think like that, but so it's all good. So I'd like to thank you again for being on the show and being here with us. And we wish you nothing but the best in your future endeavors. And when you release that show that is in your head that you don't want to tell anybody about because it's your signature show, just let us know so we can see what the genre is.
Sure. Thank
Sounds
you.
good?
Of course.
All right. And before we wrap up, just remember, if you do what you love, you won't have to work a single day of your life. See you later. Tune in to the next episode of The Mayman Show.